Hello and a very warm welcome to this yoga session. It's for all of you who enjoy walking and running. It has two parts. In the first part we are going to look at strengthening the muscle groups that you need for walking and running. So the legs, the hips, but also the back and the core muscles. And the second part is aimed at stretching out those areas. So we are going to imagine that we've had a long walk or a run and we want to relax and stretch out the body afterwards. The two parts could be practiced separately if you wanted to, or you do it in a package, and I hope you are going to enjoy it. We're going to start in wide-legged child's pose. So the legs are about as wide as your mat. Toes are touching, and just take a moment to sit on the heels, to feel into the body, to ease out the upper body. Maybe take a nice deep breath and a releasing breath out. And then fold forwards, come into wide-legged child's pose. Just a few moments to relax and connect with your body, and to connect with the intention of your practice today. So we'll be here for just 2-3 more breaths. And then just make your child's pose a bit more active. Lift up a bit, come onto your fingertips, stretch out those arms and actively push back towards your hips. Walk your fingertips over to the right hand side now, left hand on top, and draw back again for a lovely side stretch. And then on your fingertips over to the other side. Place your right hand on top and draw into the side stretch. And come back to center. Maybe just straighten out here briefly, pushing back again. And then come onto all fours, placing the knees underneath your hips, tuck your toes under. This time as we come into puppy pose next, so taking the hands forwards, not moving the hips back, and then lower your upper body and your forehead down towards the floor. And just notice that stretching out of the front of the shoulders here. And then carefully come up, place your hands underneath the shoulders now, spread the fingers out wide, and we're going to come into plank pose briefly. So lift your knees up and just take one knee down at a time, so you feel that you are stretching out your legs a bit now. And then we are going to come back to an all fours position. Knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. Next time you inhale, come into cow pose. Next time you exhale, stretch into cat. So we'll do that a couple more times. And then come into a neutral position. Extending the right leg onto the floor and lifting it up to hip height, so not any higher, and the opposite arm. So we're going to come into tiger pose here. Draw the navel up to the spine so you almost feel as if your body was lifting away from the floor. Find steadiness here, find your balance, keep the breath going. And then next time you inhale, take the leg and the arm out wide and then draw it back in. And we'll do that a couple more times. Going out wide and back to center. Let's do it 5 times all together. When you are done, just place your hand down and take your right foot all the way over to the other side and then start to look towards your foot. So there's a side stretch here again. And then come back to center and maybe ease out that right wrist in particular. And we'll do our tiger pose sequence on the other side. So with the left leg extended. And then coming into the pose. Again, think about lifting away from the floor. Some weight on the knees, some weight on the wrist. Take your arm and leg out wide and draw back to center. Couple more times. And then just the hand down, moving the foot all the way over and looking back, leaning into this side stretch. And then come back to center. Just quickly shake out the left wrist. And we'll just do one more thing on all fours. Lifting the right leg as high as the hip, but this time keep the leg bent, the foot flexed. Again, lift away from the floor and then just pulse your knee up and down a few times. Don't look towards the knee. It can't wander off. It's there. Just move it up and down. So feel free to come out of the pose now if you're happy to stay here, and to catch your right foot with the left hand, then do that now. And push your foot against the hand, start to look forwards, come into a little back bend here. And stretching the shoulders at the same time. And then release, shake out the right wrist. And same procedure on the other side. Left knee lifted. And then we'll do the pulsing up and down. So don't move the knee all the way down. Keep it at hip height. And then as an option, catch your left foot and come into a back bend. Lovely. And shake out the left wrist. Take the hands a little bit in front of the shoulders. Now come into downward facing dog. So we'll just use down dog to stretch out the legs a little bit through playful movement. Move the hips around, move the legs about. And then come into stillness.
And focus on moving those sitting bones up. And then straightening the legs. 3 deep breaths. Now walk your hands back towards your feet. And come into a half standing forward fold. So lift up as high as necessary so that you can straighten your legs, straighten your back. And just play around with your balance a little bit so you're not only on the heels but on the balls of the feet as well. And just lift one heel off the floor at a time. Now keep the feet on the floor, take a nice deep inhalation, and as you exhale, fold down. Feel free to bend the knees a little bit as you go along. Inhale, lift up again, straight back position. Exhale, soften down. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, softening. Let's do that 2 more times. And then just come into a dangling position, so keep the upper body really loose now and sway a little bit from side to side. And then slowly roll up to come into a standing position. And roll your shoulders. Nice big shoulder circles. And then rolling the shoulders the other way around. Space your feet a bit, knees soft. Now let the arms dangle and just let them rotate now from side to side. So not trying to do anything, they'll find their own rhythm. You'll be patting your buttocks or your hips. You can follow with your body all the way around if you like. And then just very gradually let that movement slow down. It might feel as if it's continuing inside for a little bit. Let's take the arms up to shoulder level. Now this time we want to keep the hips still as we are rotating again from side to side. So coming into a twist here with a bit of momentum. Keep the hips still. And then just stay in the center position, reach up with your hands, grow tall, hold your right wrist, exhale over to the left. Really lean into that side stretch, maybe pull a bit on your wrist. Keep the neck at ease. And before you come up, just squeeze the buttocks a little bit and grow tall and straight again before you come into the side bend on the other side. Lean into it, pull a bit on that wrist and come back to center. Lovely. And come to the front of your mat. Tadasana, mountain pose. Just point your palms forwards so you feel a bit of an opening in the chest area. Inhale, take the hands up, reach back, and exhale, fold down. Inhale, lift up into your straight back position, exhale, fold. Step the right foot back to come into a high lunge, so you push onto your back foot and you lengthen through your body. And then step your left foot back, come into plank and lower down to the floor. Inhale, cobra. So we're just going through a sun salutation, exhaling, downward facing dog. Walk your feet forwards, come into your straight back position and fold. And then roll up, reach up and back and fold down. Straight back position and fold. This time we're stepping back with the left foot for the high lunge. Lengthen through your body. Take a moment here. And then carry on. Step back into plank. Lower down to the floor. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Walk your feet forwards. Straight back position. Exhale, forward. Now roll up. Take the hands up and back and come back to Tadasana, mountain pose. And prepare to balance. Take your hands to your heart. We are going to do warrior 3. Starting off on the left leg, carefully tilting from the hips. So straight leg, straight back. You might just like to keep check of your hips so that the right hip doesn't roll up. And just point with your fingertips back. Now carefully step back so that your right foot comes down onto the floor. You are ready for warrior 1. So adjust your stance as necessary. You want to have contact with the floor, with the whole of your right foot. Keeping the hips level, keeping the core engaged, so not over hollowing the lower back. And then reach up with your hands. Grow tall, palms together if that works for you. And then link the hands behind you and draw them away from the shoulders. Maybe moving them away a bit from the body as well. Now straighten your front leg and come into half pyramid. So find an angle where you can keep the back straight and take your arms out wide. And next time you exhale, fold over this front leg a little bit more. And then you will probably want to bend that front leg to step back into plank. Lower down to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk or jump your feet forwards, straight back position. Exhale, forward. And roll up, reach up and back. And come back to Tadasana, mountain pose. ready to balance on the right leg. So come into your warrior three. Pointing back with your fingertips. And then stepping back for warrior one. Nice steady breath here. Just link the hands behind you again. Do it in the non-habitual way, the unusual way. And then release, straighten your front leg to come into half pyramid. Taking the arms out wide again. And then folding over that front leg. Stretch it out. And then step back to come into plank. Lower down to the floor. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. So we are stepping forward with the right leg now. If you want, you can come into a one-legged down dog. You don't have to do that. So you would take your right leg up towards the ceiling and really pushing back onto your standing leg. And then draw your nose towards the knee, round briefly. Step your right foot through and rise up. So we are all coming into warrior two now. Take a moment to find your stance so that you feel stable. Knee pointing this way, but the hips have turned all the way round. And by pushing onto the back foot, you can then lower down, lift your arms and turn your head. Next time you inhale, rise up, straight legs, take the arms up. Exhale, lower down. Now we'll do it a couple more times. Rise up, lower down, 5 times altogether. Finish in warrior two. Drop your back hand, reach up and back with your front hand to reverse your warrior. Again, a lovely side stretch here. Reach away with your fingertips. And come back to warrior two. Straighten your front leg. And now we're coming into triangle pose. So the legs stay straight as you reach. And tilt. Remember not to lean forwards. Straight legs, straight body. And then rise up. Turn forwards again, step back into downward facing dog. Simply stepping the left foot forward, or if you like, come into the one-legged version. Pushing back on that standing leg. Then nose towards the knee. And then step through and rise up into warrior two. So I just need to turn around so I can still see you. So strong warrior 2 here. And when you're ready, inhale, rise, and exhale, lower. 5 times all together. Stay in warrior 2 and reverse your warrior. Really reaching away with your fingertips. Come back to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg. Triangle pose. Couple more breaths. And then rise up and turn to the front of your mat again. Step back into plank. Lower down to the floor. And inhale into cobra. And exhale, lower down. So we're just going to do a little bit more for our back, pointing back with the fingertips now. We're going to come into half locust, so the feet stay on the floor. As you inhale, lifting the upper body and the hands, and exhale, lower down. 5 times all together. Half locust. And then we'll add on full locust as well. So taking the legs up as well as the body and the arms. Couple of deep breaths. And then lower down. And come back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forwards, come into a forward fold. Bend your knees and prepare to rise up into chair pose. You can either point back with your fingertips or point up. Couple more steady breaths here. Weight is on the heels. And then rise up and step sideways for the last standing pose, wide leg forward fold. So we're coming halfway first. Toes are pointing forwards. Come halfway, find that position again where you can keep your back straight. And then just wiggle the hips a bit from side to side. So we are coming into a twist next. If your hands come on the floor, you take your left hand down in the middle between your legs. If the hands don't come down with a straight back, so then keep your left hand on your thigh or your shin and come into a twist that way. So we are going to take that right hand up, or rather move the right shoulder around and then reach up. And your left hand is firmly connected with the floor. One more deep breath. And then come to center and do your twist on the other side. Whichever variation you have chosen. Twist around. And come back to center. Now lift up into the halfway position again. Straight back, navel towards the spine, and see if you can take your arms out wide. And then take them back onto your hips and rise up. And step forwards. Come into your chair pose. Fold down. Inhale, straight back position. Exhale, fold. Step your feet back, come into plank. Last plank. Move down onto your elbows, brief forearm plank. Take the knees down, come into Sphinx. Lower down, and we are going to stretch out our thighs now. So just rest your head down, catch your left foot with the left hand. Draw your foot towards your hips and push the hips down. And keep pushing them down for that thigh stretch. Release and do the same on the other side. And release and forward into child's pose, knees together this time. You could rest your hands on your fists or your head on your fists or the hands, or point back with the hands. And just allow the body and the breath to settle down. And slowly, slowly roll up. And for those of you who are okay with a toe squat, tuck your toes under for a moment. Really make sure that all the toes are connected with the floor. You might have to help the little toes round and then sit back. I know it can be very painful for some of you, so then don't do it and just sit on your heels for a moment or stay in child's pose. So just staying here for a couple of breaths, stretching out the soles of the feet. Very important after walking. Lovely. And then just come to sit on the floor. We finish with a brief boat pose and then we go to a lovely stretching out sequence. So we've done a bit for our core already, but boat pose is always a good opportunity to add a bit of core work. So you balance on your sitting bones, not on the tailbone, drawing the knees towards the body, lifting the collarbones. Toes can be low, toes can be higher. And then if it suits you, release your hands, point forwards. And release. And yes, so we are coming to the floor now.
If you are thirsty, then of course drink something. Have your belt ready, have everything else ready. So find your way down to the floor. And then come into a lovely stretch. Reach up and over with your hands, lengthen your legs, push the heels away. And then just draw your right knee towards your body. Keeping the arms and the shoulders relaxed. And ease out your right ankle, just rotate the foot. One direction and then the other direction. Take the knee to the side of the body now. So option 1, you stay like this. Option 2, you come into half happy baby. Not rolling over to the right side. Shin is vertical, sole of the foot parallel to the floor. To draw that knee down. Now guide your right foot over to the left leg and come into a twist. So arms in a T shape. You might like to shuffle the hips round to the right and then come into a relaxed twist, keeping the shoulders on the floor. Roll onto your back again and straighten out. And we are going to stretch out the right leg now with a belt. So you feed your belt around that right foot. Be careful with the clasp. And straighten that leg. So whether the foot is quite low or is higher up, doesn't matter. Leg is straight. And you find sort of an 80% of stretch here. Elbows are bent so that you are not pulling on your shoulders. And then once you have found your position, you just allow your right foot to relax into the belt. So relaxing the right leg. The second part of this stretch is a more active stretch. So you are going to engage the left leg, gently push the heel away. And then you push the heel of the right leg away. Maybe you will readjust the position of your foot. So keep pushing both heels away so that both legs are active. And don't hold your breath, keep breathing. A couple more breaths. And then bend your right leg a little bit and place the leg on the floor. The two legs might feel quite different right now. So let's do this sequence on the other side. Right leg stays relaxed on the floor as you draw your left knee in. Ease out your left ankle.
draw the knee to the side of the body. And come into half happy baby as an option. And from here, coming into the twist, remember to move the hips over a little bit to the left. Keep it nice and easy. And roll onto your back again. Straighten out, find your belt. Straight leg, but bent arms. Find your 80% stretch and relax the left leg. In fact, you can relax both legs here for that initial stretch. Now let's move into the active version. So both heels are pushing away now. As you hold on to that belt. Not hold your breath though, keep breathing, couple more breaths. And then carefully release. We won't need the belt anymore. So just take your feet onto the floor now as wide as the mat. So knees are bent, legs are wide, the knees are separate. And then move the knees from side to side like windscreen wipers. Next time the knees are on the right, let them relax down. And as an option, you could place that right foot on top of the left leg to guide the knee down just through the weight of the leg. That's optional. So your left hip lifts up as you come into this position. Carefully release. Come back to center. So feet are wide, knees are wide, and this time the knees are flopping over to the left. And you can hold the right leg down with your left foot as an option. And come back to center. Just briefly draw your nose towards the knees, curl up. And then lower down and rock a bit from side to side. So we are going to come into the pigeon pose stretch next. If you have access to a wall or a wardrobe, I'll show you how to do it with a wall today. If you don't, then do the version you are familiar with. So lying on the floor, we'll all start by crossing the right ankle over, and you would draw your left knee in for that lovely stretch across the right hip and glutes. And if you are doing it against the wall, the advantage of doing it against the wall is that your position is stabilized, so you can really focus on that hip stretch. You go quite close to the wall, but there will be a gap. You lie on your back, placing the left foot on the floor. The left foot against the wall in line with your left hip, and you cross the right ankle over. So you'll probably lift your hips up as you do so, but then you want to lower down again. So lower back and tailbone are on the floor. You might have to move away a bit from the wall or maybe come a bit closer. And just with your right hand, you're gently pushing that right knee back. So you need to just move about a little bit if you're doing it against the wall or the wardrobe. Find your stretch and then just ease into it. You may find that after a few breaths, the intensity reduces, and then what you can do is you just move your heel away from the wall, and that way you are adding a bit of a stretch again, and you can stay here for a couple more breaths. And then we'll swap sides, placing the right foot on the wall or on the floor, in line with the right hip, crossing the left ankle over, and gently pushing the left knee away from the body. Make sure your spine stays straight on the floor here. Maybe now moving the heel away from the wall. And then release. Our last pose is legs up against the wall or your wardrobe or on your bed or on a sofa. And if you don't have that close by, then just come into Shavasana or any other relaxation position straight away. But if you have a wall or a support close by, again, you want to make sure that your lower back and the tailbone is on the floor. And when I have been on a walk, a long one, I usually start off in this position to give the feet a bit of a break. So So allow the shoulders to relax here. You could spread out the arms or place them on your tummy. Now if you like, you can stay in this position for a little bit longer, or maybe transition now into Shavasana and add on a couple more minutes lying down in Shavasana. Now come into Shavasana or any other relaxation position of your choice. Do those last little adjustments so that you feel really comfortable. And just allow the body to become floppy and heavy in a pleasant way. Just imagine feeling the weight of your bones in the legs, in the arms, the spine, the skull. Imagine all the muscles and the skin around those bones just softening, relaxing, smoothing. If you like, you could imagine now to just step outside, maybe into your garden or a wood or a park, and breathe in the lovely fresh air. Listen to the bird song all around you. Maybe there's a daffodil somewhere, bright, yellow, cheerful, nodding its head at you. Maybe some other beautiful thing that catches your attention. So just for the next minute or two, enjoy these imaginary surroundings, this beautiful place.
Now, if you want to keep relaxing, then of course feel free to do so. Otherwise, bring your attention back into your room, back into your body, and in your own way, and slowly get ready for the rest of your day or the evening. Namaste.